Hello friends, welcome to my channel. It's me. And today we are going to talk about voices of the minstrels, songs, stories and secrets of the road. I see some so sorrows on us and with our so us and wes and as it's an anses a sense and we're and sense and sense and sense and sns and our sen and sen a sense of san whereas as an is so I just and san as assess and I knew I had to get my hands on it because the idea of having all these amazing stories from some of the best guitarists in the world gathered into one place seemed like a real treat. But then when I actually got around to reading it, I found out that it is so much more than just a collection of cool stories. It's a really well-written book with great photos. And it's filled with lots of cool stuff for anyone who loves acoustic guitar or just good stories. There are chapters covering everything from gear talk to health issues to studio techniques to business advice. There's a lot here for everyone. Whether you're a working pro or just trying to get started, in fact, there is even a section called Advice to Younger Players, where a lot of the big names in acoustic guitar share what they wish they knew before they started down the road that they did. I found myself highlighting so much in this section because there were things that really stood out to me. And while most of the players featured in the book are pretty famous in their own right, there are a few names that might not be as familiar to you. One player in particular was Oliver Rajan. I'd never heard of him until I read this book. But he's a fingerstyle guitarist from England, and his story really jumped out at me. He's mostly self-taught, and he got started playing Beatles songs. But when his mom bought him a classical guitar, he fell in love with the nylon strings and the bigger neck. And after seeing a documentary about Segovia, he became interested in studying classical guitar. Then, when he was only 16, he won first prize at the Guitar Foundation of America's International Concert Artists Competition. And just 2 years later, he won first prize at the prestigious Montreal International Guitar Competition. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment for someone who started playing just 4 years prior. If you look at pictures of him from that time period, he looks like a kid. I was definitely impressed by his story, and I went and checked out some videos on YouTube, and he is really good. If you haven't heard of him before, do yourself a favor and check him out. Another great thing about this book is that it features guitarists from all over the world. There are European players, South American players, Asian players, African players. There are players from all over the United States too, of course. And this gives a pretty cool perspective on how guitar is played in different places. I've always been super interested in how other cultures play guitar, especially flamenco guitar from Spain. I'm fascinated with that style of music, and I'd love to go to Spain and learn about it firsthand. But until I can make that trip, it's nice to hear about the culture through the experiences of the players in this book. It really makes you feel like you're there. Speaking of flamenco, one of the guitarists featured in this book is Vicente Amigo. He is probably one of the biggest flamenco guitarists out there right now, and he has won several Grammy Awards for his albums. I've been listening to his music for a while now. But I was really excited to read his story in this book, because I wanted to know more about him as a person. His story was really interesting because even though he's obviously very talented, he still had to work hard to succeed. And he also faced a lot of challenges along the way, like injuries and self-doubt. But he was able to overcome these obstacles and become one of the most successful flamenco guitarists in the world. Reading his story made me appreciate his music even more, because I realized that it wasn't just natural talent that made him successful, but also his hard work and dedication. Plus, I think it's safe to say that he's a humble guy, which always makes me respect a musician more. Another player whose story really jumped out at me was Tommy Emmanuel. This guy is a monster on the guitar. I have no doubt that he's one of the top 3 guitarists in the world, period. Whether you're talking about technique, speed, tone, creativity, or showmanship, he has it all. Have you watched so many of his videos? and I'm still amazed at how fast his fingers move on the fretboard. I don't know how he does it. Another thing I admire about Tommy Emmanuel is how versatile he is. He can play almost any style of music on the guitar, from classical to jazz to blues to rock and roll, and he can make it all sound good. But he's also a funny guy, and that comes through in his story too. He has a great sense of humor, and he's not afraid to make fun of himself, which I really admire. I'm sure it helps him connect with his audience, because I can't help but smile when I watch him perform. He just seems like a happy guy who loves what he's doing, and that's contagious. While I don't agree with every single thing that every guitarist said in this book, overall, I think it paints a pretty accurate picture of what it's like to be a professional guitarist. Some of the advice was surprising to me, like how many players talked about the importance of networking and making connections. I guess that makes sense because you never know when those connections might come in handy. But I never really thought about that before. It's just something that comes naturally to some people, and others have to work at it. Another thing that surprised me was how much emphasis was put on the importance of being your own manager. I had no idea that so many players were against the idea of signing with a big agency. But after reading their stories, I kind of get it. It seems like it's a lot of work for not much pay. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule, but in general, it seems like it's a pretty risky move. All in all, I would highly recommend this book to anyone who plays guitar or just wants to learn more about the instrument. It's a great read with lots of cool stories, tips, and tricks. You never know what you might pick up. And it's also just a really well-written book. Stories are engaging and the photos are beautiful. So even if you're not interested in the technical aspects of guitar playing, you'll still enjoy this book. That's it for me today. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.